So, I'm not going to be 100% brief with you in this discussion in regards to the tweet that Team Bloober made a couple days ago about the trailer and the reaction from the fans. The first thing they seem to have done is point their fingers at Konami. Now, from my understanding, and what I mean by that, by things I've read on the internet, this is something pretty commonplace among game developers and publishers. So it's nothing out of the ordinary for this sort of communication issue in regards to marketing. And that's what Team Bloober is blaming Konami for at the moment. But we need to remember that Konami as a company has done some petty things in the past, and in all likelihood has a larger propensity of continuing to do those petty things. So when I say that I think there's a possibility that the Silent Hill 2 remake may get canceled, I don't think that is beyond the realm of possibility at all. I think it is something that's not likely to happen. But again, this is Konami, and it seems like there's already something of a conniption within two or possibly just one of the groups. They are obviously not communicating something, or they are taking the blame from themselves and putting it on the publisher, and that would be Team Bloober. Now, I would commonly talk in higher regard about Konami. However, their recent changes to the company and the things they have done within the last few years, you know, just as much as handing the rights over to Team Bloober, I mean, I can not congratulate them enough on such a condemning of the fan base. Really, and this is something that I think Konami is known for, is being a developer and publisher that has done things to upset fans. Just look at PT, for example. And just look how they put Norman Reedus there and Del Torres. You know, people got excited for that, even though I don't think Del Torres is necessarily the right choice for a Silent Hill game, maybe in terms of monster design. But it was like they were just teasing the fans to just sort of just pull it away at the last minute and slap them in the face. So I don't know if I look at them in any higher regard because they've made Silent Hill and they've made maybe Metal Gear Solid and a few other titles that I happen to enjoy. But I can certainly say within the last few years, they have not been the company that I've been looking forward to when it comes to video games. I mean, I can't go on a limb and say I've been looking forward to any Silent Hill games for within the scope of the last 10 years. I haven't. I gave up on Silent Hill after The Room. Hell, Silent Hill 3 was when I really thought the series was just kind of not having it anymore. Still enjoyable, but it just seems like that's where it began to sort of branch off and not be quite the paramount that it was in Silent Hill 2. And Silent Hill 2 is the paramount. It is the magnum opus of the series. However, I do like the first one above all of them, and that is just simply because I'm a horror fanatic. So what you get from the first game is straight up horror. You don't really get a whole lot of scares out of the second one. Yeah, it's a little disturbing, a little creepy, but it's not quite as terrifying as the first one. Story-wise, yes, Silent Hill 2 is king when it comes to that. The way it was written, the way the characters are and everything. And that's another thing I want to see from this remake is Team Bloober's take on the characters. Yeah, there's sort of a attachment I have to the characters and how they are already established in the original Silent Hill 2, but I would like to see their take on them. Predominantly James and maybe Angela. Like, I think those are by far the two most interesting characters in the game. James is kind of robotic. You know, he's kind of walking around like he's got a bad case of amnesia. He's just weird and sort of seemed like he's on some sort of doped up dream, lucid conquest. And the way he talks to people is very awkward to subtle. Like when he first meets Eddie, you know, he kind of shifts. You know, he's usually got this calm demeanor, but he just kind of shifts when he meets an Eddie. And I kind of want to just see if they bring about those sorts of changes within the new characters, which I don't think they will. I don't think they'll invest such time into a complicated personality, which I would describe James and Angela as having complicated personalities within the game. They're hard to describe, in my opinion. So I don't think that those will translate very well into these new characters, but I do think it'd be interesting to see a different take on them. Now, do I want them to replace the characters? No, but I would like to see that. However, I see smoke in the distance with this, predominantly with what has just transpired within the last 2-3 days, that here we are, and Team Blooper is responding to the awful reaction from the fans, and not lightheartedly, they are pointing their finger at Konami. Keep in mind, this is Team Blooper, a company that has not the greatest track history within, you know, the sphere of video game making. I mean, they're going up with Konami, another company that doesn't have, you know, the greatest track record with their fans either. So it's really hard to see who's going to be the one you sympathize with in this one. But honestly, I kind of do think that it might lean towards Team Bloober. But then at the same time, hey, they're not giving us a release date. They said it was going to be released in 2023. They haven't given it to us yet. They said the game is finished. I do see how Konami could take something like the trailer and focus it strictly on action. I can see Konami doing that because Konami is doing all sorts of new things with Silent Hill. Konami doesn't even know what Silent Hill is anymore, in my honest opinion. You know, they're creating Silent Hill F, Silent Hill Ascension, Silent Hill: A Short Message. All of these Silent Hill games I'm not going to play. The only one I'm going to play is the Silent Hill 2 remake. They're taking it and they're mutating it into contemporary sort of playthings for the current generation of video game users. So they're taking something old and completely twisting it out proportion. Sort of like that Junji Ito story where the guys go into the holes and they come out and they're just a fucking mess. That's what Konami is doing to the series. So do I think that I can blame Bloober at this point? No, not really. Not really. This is pretty much Konami's doing, trying to create the game into a larger franchise and a franchise. I mean, they're trying to reignite it, and it's turning into a mess. The only thing that I have any hope for is the remake, but again, it's already a mess, and I think that state of affairs will speak for the remaining products that are in production with this sort of ongoing, transpiring franchise that is known as Silent Hill. That's not really Silent Hill anymore. I think this is the only thing worth committing your time to. None of this other walk-in simulator, what is it, Pinko machines, weird shit. And that Silent Hill Ascension is like, what, social media or some shit? It's like a streaming plat. Like, dude, are you high? Are you for real? And the thing is, no, we're just trying to make money off of something that we think a newer generation of fans will be duped into liking. So that's my honest opinion on it. But as far as the game itself goes, Silent Hill 2 Remake, I am hoping that it'll do well, but there's still that possibility that it might be canceled because of the conflict between fans, the conflict with Konami, if you can call it Konami, the miscommunication, whatever. And as far as I know, Team Bloober deleted that tweet. They said that they've for the entirety of the game's production, they've been trying to stay true to the spirit of Silent Hill and not focus it so much on action. That they were trying to stay in touch with, the fact that it's this sort of surreal psychological horror game instead of an action game like Alan Wake 2 or Resident Evil. But that's just what Bloober is saying. They're blaming Konami for taking all of the footage and strictly making it into an action trailer, which I can see Konami doing that. Honestly, I can. But does that mean they did that? I don't know. I don't know as far as it goes when it comes to these trailers and the promotion of these trailers. All as I know is that someone is accountable for it, and I really don't care at the end of the day. I mean, if you're gonna make Silent Hill 2 into a current gen game, you have to apply some sort of gameplay mechanic to it. So yes, all the fans out there being like, oh, it's not true to the original Silent Hill. Yeah, I get it, but you have to apply these new technologies to the game to keep it current. Now I know I was going on a diatribe there with Konami trying to make Silent Hill current to contemporary gamers with branching it out into all these weird experimental things, but that's not the same thing. I swear to God, it's not. What they're doing with Silent Hill 2 is they're taking it just like they did with the Resident Evil remake and updated it. Resident Evil for the PlayStation, they remade it into Resident Evil for the GameCube. Did the same thing for Resident Evil 4 and just updated, gave it a fine tuning. And that means, yes, you got to focus on changing the combat, or at least evolving it to contemporary standards. The problem was they promoted it as an action game. That's all they did. Now we don't know if Bloober's to hold responsible for that or if it's Konami. It could be both. At the end of the day, we really can't do anything but point fingers. And honestly, I've said this before and I'm going to say it again. I hope the best for this game. For the love of God, I hope the best for it. But I think a lot of things have already been botched. And I didn't notice this until recently, that you can tell that they've already either changed the ending to Silent Hill 2 or they fucked it up. And that is solely based on the introduction scene with James entering the bathroom. Like he did something. Well, what did he do? He's panicking. Something's going on with him. That in itself screws up everything. So I hope that this is, you see, I see this going in a million different directions and none of them are going anywhere positive. So I hope that somewhere within all this contraption of a maze, you have the mouse searching for the cheese. I hope it starts picking up a scent at some point, because there's so many things going into this that are all pointing into it's just a disaster. Saying that the game's finished when it's not, saying that's gonna be released in 2023 when it's not. This miscommunication between Konami and the developer, the potential of the storyline being completely botched, among many changes that people are not happy about. This game, I think it's likely to be canceled. I think it's very likely to be canceled. Konami, I can see them doing something like that, blowing a bunch of money, maybe. I don't know. We can only wait and see at the end of the day, and I'm sure we will. But I think that's really it for now. Again, I hope the best for this. This is the only thing within anything coming out related to Silent Hill that I have any care for. And I think you should hold it in the same regard, because they're just turning this into a McDonald's, McChicken, McSilent Hill sort of fucking thing, with the Ascension and Silent Hill F and the short message. It is McSilent Hill. You're getting the McSilent Hill. Do you not see that yet? Okay, so still, the only thing worth investing your time into is the Silent Hill 2 remake, and unfortunately it's going through some hardships at the moment, but we can only pray for the best. Anyways, we'll keep following the story of this. It's actually very interesting. The development of this game and everything that's going on with it is probably going to be more interesting than the fucking game itself, which is a concern. So keep that in mind. Anyways, I'm Master Caticle. This has been the Astrocastrophe, and I will catch you next time.